Well, my next guest has touched the lives of everyone watching this show. Frederick Wallace Smith founded FedEx in 1973. This after rising to the rank of captain in the U.S. Marines, where he served 2 tours in Vietnam. By the way, he won the Silver Star, the Bronze Star, and 2 Purple Hearts. Upon becoming a civilian, he could not get an idea out of his head, an idea he envisioned in college, where, by the way, he wrote a term paper and got a grade of C. Well, that term paper eventually became FedEx, and it has absolutely changed the world. And this week, the big news is that Fred Smith is stepping down, at least from the role of CEO. But so much has changed, and so much is going to change. So here we have it. We use the term legend a lot, but ladies and gentlemen, a real business legend, Fred Smith. Fred, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you very much, Charles.
What prompted the move? Was it just, something that eventually had to come, or was there anything else?
Well, Charles, you mentioned my service days, and by the way, whatever recognition I received in the service was due to what my troops did, not what I did. I just talked on the radio and tried not to get shot. But you know, the whole change has been long contemplated, because if you're in the military, you understand that you have to have an EXO and succession planning. So we've always had very rigorous succession planning, particularly for our senior officers, which is reviewed by the board, and in particular, my position as chairman and as the chief executive officer. So in 2019, Raj Subramanian, who was our CEO of FedEx Express, our largest of the 3 major operating companies, was selected to be my successor in the event of my death or, disablement. And I recommended at the same time that because most of the publicly held companies have strong pressure to not have a combined chairman and CEO, that when we promoted Raj, that we have an independent board chairman. So this is the 50th operational year of FedEx in our fiscal year 23 that begins on June the 1st. So I initially thought that we should make the transition in June, and the more I thought about it, this should be Raj's business plan. And so he's the CEO-elect, and then on the 1st of June, I moved to executive chairman, and we also designated Brad Martin, a very experienced executive, former CEO of Saks, to be non-executive chairman, and we broadened the responsibilities of our lead director, David Steiner. So it was all planned for quite some time.
Right. Fred, in your statement, you said that FedEx has changed the world by connecting people and possibilities for the last 50 years. But more recently, global commerce has come under a lot of fire, just as capitalism has come under a lot of fire. Do you envision the same world that FedEx, by the way, helped to create existing in the future?
No, I think you're right, Charles. I think there's a whole re-examination of both capitalism, which is a word that I think is a bit misleading, and the whole premise of free trade. I prefer to use the term market-driven, because there are only 2 types of economies, market-driven and government-directed. And there's no example of a government-directed economy prospering and taking people out of poverty. There just isn't. So when the United States began to embrace trade in 1934, Cordell Hull, the Secretary of State, and Franklin Roosevelt, all the way through really the Obama administration, or at least the George W. Bush administration, the world's prosperity increased many times over. But now people have taken up this mantra of trade is bad for blue-collar folks. They lose their jobs when they have to compete with lower-priced labor, and the whole premise of market-driven economics and the advantages of free trade have been lost in this political debate.
Fred, your life really is a testament to the American dream. Do you see, 600,000 employees around the world, do you see in our young people that willingness to serve like you did in the military or something else, and also the willingness to go out and start businesses. I know we had a spike in entrepreneurship, and I want it to keep going. You think it will?
You know, I do, and the reason I think it will is because the internet and the ability to assemble capital make the communications and the aggregation of potential investors and the venture capital business, which we had a big role in saving, quite frankly, in the early 70s. So I do think that entrepreneurship will continue to grow, and in fact, as you said, there's an explosion of it here since the pandemic. Regarding willingness to serve, you've got to remember that when I came out of college in 1966, the draft was underway. I'd been in the Marine Corps' officer program prior to that, but an awful lot of people had to make the decision to either enlist or go into the draft. And what, of course, is tragic that we're watching today in the Ukraine are all these Russian youngsters who are conscripts and impressed into service and losing their lives in this invasion
Right.
that was no reason to do it. Now, I think the American youth today, if the country was challenged, would come to the country's defense, just as they did in World War II and Korea, and many people served in Vietnam. I know so many people that are on that wall in Vietnam. I think of them every day. They didn't have to go, they did, and I don't think the youngsters today are any different than we were.
Well, it's great to hear it. And I should remind folks, the first 2 years of your business, you lost $29 million you held in there. You know, the term legend is used a lot, but it is absolutely appropriate. A legend, a patriot, and it's an honor. Fred Smith, happy days ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charles.